It's a solid pick in that sense. If you were predicting the CP Kestrel, Catherine is incredibly good into it.
Here we go. This is game 1, Scoundrel, of our 3rd and 4th place decider match. Eanix versus Popeyes. Both these teams fighting for that glory.
This is going to be a big match for both of them. Obviously, the 3rd place match incredibly important for these guys. Just for that prestige, like we said. It's going to be the double back camp take here. Interesting that we are seeing an invade. I did expect this. It's Tezaboy to take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, this happened yesterday. Tezaboy just kind of the front face of the invade, but it means he goes down, and first blood is that of Eanix. Goes over to E-Baby. Looks like a second kill going to come over as we wave to the camera, and it does indeed come over as well. Aeon will fall to that Samuel, so I Angry You Die getting his hands dirty.
I thoroughly expected that, given how powerful Samuel is early on, especially with Catherine being able to walk up and stun someone. Finn, not exactly the best level 1 captain in the game. My question is why Mr. Spartan was so focused on trying to take the healing camp, but actually he could have done a lot of work with glimmer shots on the encroaching team. That splash damage could really have a large effect on those squishies of Baby and I Angry You Die. That would have been incredibly powerful had they chosen to potentially turn and focus the team pushing through a choke point, which is what Kestrel loves to do, obviously.
Well, we are going to see Mr. Spartan roam up into the lane here, about to hit level 2 as well, as he throws glimmer shots Rubber Monkey's way. Angry You Die going to join the fun. A stun onto Mr. Spartan, but they're turning damage, and that's going to be the Catherine falling. Mr. Spartan will find the return as well. 2 kills over to Popeyes. This has gone wrong for Eanix.
Well, that's exactly what a CP Kestrel could do. That's why I was so confused that they weren't doing it at level 1, and Mr. Spartan was so focused on trying to take that healing camp. I guess the theory there for Mr. Spartan right at the start of the game was maybe it's better that I just take my back camps away rather than trying to risk a duel, but they've managed to make up for it, actually given Baron an early kill as well. He's already got the boots, so he's got a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card on top of his jump jets. Not a bad I guess, return and equaling out the gold at this point in time. Yeah,
it's something that Popeyes did yesterday against Elite 8. Exactly the same scenario. An invade into their jungle. Tezaboy just playing Warden, but eventually going down. And the carry and jungler, Mr. Spartan and Aeon, just trying to take the camp as quickly as possible instead of turning and fighting and using those abilities. Perhaps it's a weakness in their very, very, very early game Scoundrel, something that they can iron out if they are aware of it. But at this point, it has evened things up. 2 kills apiece. The gold is definitely even as well, and it's going to be on one of these teams to really start to pull ahead with some good moves.
Mr. Spartan obviously being seen by that scout trap, hasn't yet procced it here, so Rubber Monkey put a little bit of early vision down. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Crucible rush after the fountain here. So important against the CP Kestrel. Going to force the boots out. Unfortunately, was stuck between a rock and a hard place, literally, and had to get out of dodge there. But Aeon, at the moment, just trying to stuck on the turret. He's going to be pushed in quite frequently here. Vox and Samuel got incredible pushing potential and kind of restricting the farm on this Baron as well.
Rubber Monkey, this guy likes to play right up close to the wire, very constantly going down to very low as he gets focused down, really the front line for his team. And Popeyes, they're looking to try and put the pressure back on. Angry You Die with those Malice and Verdicts. They can do a lot of damage, but the energy is just not there. It means that there is going to be no follow-up coming through for Eanix, but these guys are hungry to try and get a kill in the lane.
Absolutely, and Mr. Spartan has the power to do it in the early game. It's got the energy battery, by the way, dousing, something that a lot of CP Kestrels will pick up instead of an energy, another crystal bit. You do need that energy regeneration. It's pretty much crucial to your jungle clear and also your ability to duel, because you just absolutely, chunk through those the energy bar by using those glimmer shots over and over, so you need the energy regeneration there. A lot of pressure being put on by Eanix onto this tier 1 turret here. The push potential of the the Vox and the Samuel when he comes into lane is really strong, but Mr. Spartan turns up once more. Storm Shield should do some work though.
Yeah, it's not going to do too much early on. It's really late game. That's when that ability is going to start to hurt the Kestrel as she throws glimmer shots at close range, but Eanix,
Catherine can still tank out a lot of damage.
Yeah,
with Storm Shield.
It's early game. It's like it tanks up the damage, but doesn't necessarily throw it back.
Oh no, it doesn't throw it back. But the most important thing is about tanking those glimmer shots for your carries, because they're absolutely devastating. And both look at this.
Is in so much trouble. Rubber Monkey just needs to charge forward. Tezaboy just trying to be a brick wall, but the Malice and Verdicts, they're hurting. Dives forward Aeon to try and get the distance, but that's going to be Mr. Spartan caught out. Flare means he can't escape, and he should go down for a kill in just a second. He does. Rubber Monkey though traded out, not really as good as Eanix wanted, though they do have a chance to steal some of these backs away. Starving the Kestrel out of gold is definitely a good scenario.
Absolutely. It's going to be double back take here as well, and there's literally nothing they can do about it, because unfortunately Tezaboy there stuck on a turret, and Aeon doesn't really want to move out of the move out of the lane to farm. Look like Aeon's moving in here. He's trying to take this camp away.
Oh, he is in so much trouble. Aeon does get the healing, but it just doesn't hit his body quick enough. Means that the another kill goes the way of I Angry You Die. 2-1-2, and that's 2-0-2 for this Vox as well. Yeah.
So interestingly enough, Mr. Spartan has got a Heavy Prism and an Eclipse Prism here. Something that you will see quite often is that obviously CP Kestrels will stack those crystal bits like we see on Sky, like we see on Samuel. So you often like to get a really big amount of damage early on without having to invest into a tier 3 item quickly. But we are going to see him work towards what I imagine will be a Shatterglass. It's against the double squishy. Shatterglass means you'll get the most impact with those Glimmer shots, but against 2 targets that have fairly low base HP values and won't be investing too heavy into shielding early on. So expect Mr. Spartan to go Shatterglass. The question will be as to whether he ends up going double Shatterglass. And a more interesting thing is it looks like he's already going towards a reflex block, and that is not something that you see CP Kestrels do because of their range advantage. They don't often need the reflex block.
This is why he needs it. Look at Mr. Spartan just getting stunned up by the Merciless Pursuit. This is the point you're trying to get to, Excalibur.
Yeah, exactly. Just about to say, he needs it because of that Merciless Pursuit. The tier 1 siege is really good here.
Oh, this is going to be Rubber Monkey falling down. The turret's still alive. It's got the shield on it. This is disastrous. Eanix are going to have to fall back, but can E-Baby escape the Glimmer shots? Yes. Yes, he can. I Angry You Die trying to do the same. Those Malice and Verdicts, they are doing work. Aeon takes that empowered auto attack to the face, and Mr. Spartan will find a Malice and Verdict, able to trade the kill, but it is just not good enough for Popeyes. They should have lost so many members.
No, they really didn't need to overextend there. They took 2 empowered Malice and Verdicts to the face, which did a huge amount of splash damage to Aeon and Mr. Spartan. And now they're actually going to lose their turret for it because it's literally just 1 basic attack from Baby, and he walks away healthy. With the tier 1 tower under his belt, that is a good return there for Eanix. Actually pushes their gold lead to 3,000 gold right now, and now looks like an overextended Finn.
Yeah, this is going to be Tezzaboy taking a lot of damage. The Quibble delays his death, but the wait for it, well, that's exactly what happened. Just wait for him to fall down. Popeyes lose another. That is the gold starting to stack up against them, and it's very important that Eanix keep this pressure up. That Baron exists in this game and will be eventually scaling up.
It looks like Tezzaboy is working towards an Atlas Pauldrons, which is interesting in the sense that I don't know how effective, especially if the Crucible comes through, I don't know how effective Atlas Pauldrons will be against the Vox, because how likely are you to get close to the Vox to use it? This is Finn. You'll have to rush in with War Treads or rush in with Boots to make that happen. Unless you get the pull through, and as long as the reflex block is happening for Baby, that shouldn't happen. I would have been more tempted to go towards a Crucible, try and block the Blast Tremor, or try and block the Wait for it, or the Oblivion, all of which are 3 huge impact and team abilities that need blocking. The other thing that I want to chat about is a Crucible on the other side. Rubber Monkey is prioritizing the Contraption for the CP Kestrel over the Crucible for the Finn ultimate, which is interesting because this is a question that gets thrown up when you have a Finn and a CP Kestrel on the same team. It makes captain itemization very difficult to make the decision between, but if you get the reflex blocks on your carries, you should be okay, and you can see their Baby and I Angry You Die have picked up their own reflex blocks, so can delay that Crucible just a little bit.
Yeah, no, certainly. We did see Rubber Monkey accidentally use his Fountain there. It is ticking down, 30 seconds on the cooldown, so I expect Eanix to not really be looking to hard commit to a fight, but poke is obviously fine, especially when you have Samuel who can outpoke almost anyone.
Yeah, and the poke of Samuel is often a little bit easier to hit and more consistent than the CP Kestrels because you can just throw it out. Malice and oh, there we go.
Oh, that's E-Baby pulled in. He is able to jump away, but wait for it goes out. Doesn't quite connect. That's a lot of damage onto Aeon, and the Blast Tremor going to silence. Oh, he goes down, and now it's looking like it's going to be even more so as Tezzaboy is struggling. He's going to fall under this turret, I'm sure. Throws out his Fountain of his own. One shot hits Rubber Monkey. It's very hard to see what is going on here as we are experiencing some technical difficulties, I believe, Scoundrel. But as the feed catches up, the turret will fall, and that's going to be a huge gold swing over to Eanix. Almost 6,000 gold.
Rubber Monkey's dead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he just backed in a sort of inappropriate area there. Didn't expect the active camo sneaking from Mr. Spartan. I think the real question there is something that we haven't really talked about, is that double silence composition. It's something that we haven't touched on. It's something that was very popular when Catherine was seen about 3 or 4 months ago. You often saw Vox with Catherine, the double silence, the wait for it into the Blast Tremor, kind of silenced up the enemy team for roughly 2 seconds, which is actually pretty impactful because it means that you can't use jump jets for Baron, there's no reflex blocks available, there's no fountains available, and 2 seconds is a lot of damage to be dealt by a Vox with a Sorrow Blade Poison Shiv and I Angry You Die on the Samuel, who's already got the Broken Myth. And that's another point that we haven't chatted about. This is a Sorrow Blade Poison Shiv Vox. This has got no breaking point right now. This is almost immediate impact damage.
Yeah, it looks like he will be going towards the breaking point as his third item, which means that he can stack up. But look at this, a lot of damage onto Rubber Monkey as he dives on forward. Doesn't really get much in return.
I'd imagine it is a breaking point, but we can't rule out a Serpent's Mask as well.
Yep.
Because that is something that we do see with the Poison Shiv. I just think the attack speed might be too low if he doesn't go for a breaking point.
Yeah, it looks like he will be going towards the breaking point as his third item.
Two options there, we can't rule them out. We know that the double sustain build is very popular.
Dives on forward. Very interesting though. You look at the damage that eBaby has built up across the
the
pond. Aeon still struggling to finish his third item. Will be able to complete the breaking point now as he heads back to base, but that is very late. 10 minutes, second item on Baron. He has been delayed a lot.
He's gone for an infusion to try and keep up on the pace, and I think that's important because he needs to at this point. Only a level 8 infusion, if he decides to use it now, might wait for his level 9, which he has just hit, so level 9 infusion is pretty important.
Oh, but he's just taking so much damage from Ayangu Die. His team takes the Sentry whilst they're out at Eanix, just really putting the pressure down here and trying, you know, the good thing about having such a dominating early game is that Baron is not going to hit the late game to way past what you expect a Baron to hit it.
Exactly, but also you've got to check out the fact that he's invested 700 gold into a reflex block.
Right.
And they're getting scout traps as well. I mean, this is a guy who's spending gold that should be spent on offensive items, on reflex blocks, which you don't often see on the Baron, and obviously then the scout traps, which is just something that they're obviously doing to try and keep up with this contraption vision, because Boy hasn't gone contraption, so he's getting out-visioned just purely by the fact that he doesn't have contraption on board. But he has gone for the Crucible, like I said, not going to go for the Atlas Polders, which I think is the better decision here.
Do see the Crucible now for Rubber Monkey as well. Another Gauge going to come out. There's the Blast Tremor. There's the wait for it. There's Silence to Oblivion. And the kills just come rolling through. That's going to be Popeyes dropping right down. Boy not even attempting to escape. He knew his fate was sealed there, Scoundrel.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly how powerful this composition can be. If you time things, stutter things correctly, everybody is silenced for up to 2 seconds, and that gives you all the time in the world to land stuns, to land damage, to land and stack your breaking point, like you can see there from Baby. He probably hit 2 or 3, 4 breaking point stacks by the time that silence even came off board, and you saw how damaging that was to Spartan and Aeon, because Aeon obviously and Spartan not likely to build any further defense in that reflex block. Even for CP Kestrel, you'd argue that the reflex block might even be too much. I'm also looking at the Kestrel's build and thinking, well, where? Like, this has got no damage to it right now. This is it looks like an Eve of Harvest second item Kestrel. It's just not something that you see in other regions.
No.
I mean, in Europe, they go double Shatterglass.
Yeah, double Shatterglass, then the Broken Myth, and then, you know, maybe some more piercing straight after that. This is something that is such a thing that we see in C, but Iron Guy going to get pulled on in the wait for it. It's in a perfect location. Fountain comes out and Mr. Spartan drops. Blast Tremor means that everyone is dead now, and that will be the ace coming through for Eanix once more. These guys are just rolling over Popeyes.
Yeah, and they're trying to win the game right here, right now. They do have the Catherine to tank things up. This could be an easy, quick win at 13 minutes for Eanix and Popeyes. Left reeling. It really does seem that that glaive ban is their Achilles heel, and right now Eanix have the arrow.
Well, Mr. Spartan's up. First turret does go down. Looks like Eanix are going to start disengaging. No, they're going for the win here. Iron Gun and Cannon going to come from above as Aeon dives forward, and eBaby takes a huge chunk of damage, but that turret is still falling. Iron Gun Die, it may be caught out here. eBaby going to escape. That means Iron Gun Die has been left for dust as Eanix going to leave a man behind.
That was certainly ambitious. I think at that point you have to win another fight. Oh, nearly. I think Aeon was potentially just out of sight there. Didn't quite catch iBaby, but that was an ambitious attempt at an end. You really need to get basically 2 team fights on the trot at 13 minutes to be able to win. So unfortunately not quite there for Eanix, but you don't feel like this game has any other conclusion at this point. The piercing shard comes out from Mr. Spartan, maybe is working towards an Eve of, a Broken Myth. I would have been surprised to see Eve of Harvest second item, but obviously with the items in inventory that looked like where he was going. But a lot of Kestrels do hold on to a Void Battery for pretty much most of the game and then turn it into an Eve of Harvest later on. Going towards Broken Myth is the more standard build path that you see on a CP Kestrel, but this is just so delayed. I mean, it's 14 minutes and you've lost all of the early game that the CP Kestrel can have. Obviously, CP Kestrel does really well throughout the majority of the game. She's one of the only CP carries that you often see, especially from the jungle, actually achieve a 5-item status and never really have to worry about defense. But already with the reflex block in inventory, it limits her power ceiling and has brought it down a couple of levels.
And not only that, the power ceiling is so high up right now, X-Scoundrel. To get there, you would take so long.
Even for the Baron now as well. It's just too far away, I think.
You know, sometimes we see Barons hit their 4th item at this point in the game, and Aeon is struggling to get his 3rd. This is going to be Popeyes caught out of position. Eanix with the minion wave can just push into the base. Some great macro rotation coming out of them, and Rubber Monkey's just going to hold them in place, make sure that they're forced to fight. They cannot recall. The fight breaks out. Wait for it there. Silences are out. Ion Cannon drops, but it's going to be Aeon caught on out. Blocks the stun, but he drops nonetheless. And Mr. Spartan being put to sleep and taken on out. A double for this Fox, looking for his triple kill. May not be able to get it as the Crystal Sentry is with a threat. So Rubber Monkey will finish the job. The ace for Eanix, and this will certainly be the game. And
they've actually surrendered anyway, knowing that the impending fate is going to be that of a loss. And Eanix take the first game against Popeyes in absolutely dominating fashion here. Popeyes didn't even look in the water. They had no treading ability, and that was just them falling to the floor. The composition for me didn't make much sense. I think that the way that this composition worked specifically is that you had to get to the late game very quickly and then eventually use active camo as a peeling tool for the Baron. So you stick Baron on top of an active camo so that if people rush the Baron, you then use the active camo. But like you said, Catherine can just face check those with Storm Shield later on. She could just tank up all that damage, and unless you've set multiple active camo traps. And also, it's getting to that point, right? You've got 2 fairly late game heroes. Yes, Kestrel can run away with things in the early game, but she didn't really get that chance because of the invade and because of the power of the Catherine and the Samuel combo.
Saw from, I believe it was Spaghetti yesterday, from Impunity, was a Shattered Glass, Broken Myth, double piercing shard. Something that could certainly be effective on a Black Feather as well, who's looking to just blow up a target. Guys, this is game 2 of our 3rd place decider. Eanix currently 1-0 in the series. They're going to be looking to take it further.
And it looks like Mr. Spartan is in accordance with me. Double Crystal Bit start. If you were going for the alternating current, you would actually take the Swift Shooter first, because it actually helps your clear, more so than a double Crystal Bit would. So this spells out to me that he's probably going for a Shattered Glass first item, which is the best choice, in my opinion, against the heroes that he's facing up against.
Well, Aeon, he is under turret here, but a lot of pressure going put on this Vox very early. Boy going to come into the lane, try and put the pressure back. Doesn't go for anything more, though. He doesn't want to risk an impale. And this is a very fun lane to play when you're Baron. You have that Lyra. Her auto attack damage did get nerfed a little bit to try and make her a little bit easier to deal with, especially that second missile damage. But so much range available. This is kind of how you expect the Kestrel to be played, especially Popeyes pretty much playing this composition in the previous game.
Wait a second. Eanix actually is on the right. Oh, yeah, no, I am right. Yeah, okay,
yeah. We switched the overlays around. We're experiencing
sorry.
a couple of technical difficulties here as the spectator client has appeared to have paused on our screens. I'm sure the game is still ongoing. Council should be getting back onto the game. I can hear those glimmer shots flying, and let's see where things are. Oh, okay. The quadra kill was just in my mind.
It was
it's
just
still an even game. 0-0, no goal deficits. But Rubber Monkey will be impaled. It could be a fight breaking out as soon as the camera gets onto it. That's going to be Mr. Spartan taking huge chunks of damage, and Baby diving forward. Oh, Baby! First blood!
Yeah, wow. That was just obviously fantastic from here, and gets the double auto attack. CP Blackfeather, not a hugely impactful hero in the early game. You really need to hit some of those item spikes, get a little bit of defense on him before he actually starts to have an immediate impact. And Aeon and Boy now, obviously that's the one thing I think Eanix were worried about, that potential for Lance early pressure in lane. Good sidestep by Baby there, but again, this is something that I think they were trying to alleviate by sieging early on. And Mr. Spartan went down as they tried to take that early gank. It was a good move by Angry You Die. Like you said, they are putting everybody in lane to try and out-pressure this Lance in the early game. Lance can be incredibly impactful in those ganks.
Well, this is exactly how we expected the Baron Kestrel to be played. A lot of range, poke, pressure being put on here. And it looks like Eanix are very comfortable as, look at this, Angry You Die is tanking those up. So as Rubber Monkey walks past, he gets a bit of ambient gold. I just love the efficiency, making sure everyone gets a little bit of love. You
can already see Mr. Spartan and Aeon respecting the damage that this CP Kestrel can put out as well. And the Baron, they've both invested into tier 1 armor and tier 1 shield. Slot efficiency will be a little bit lower than you'd expect here for these two members now that they've actually had to invest in some early defense. Means they're not going to be able to use components for their offensive items. They're going to have to wait for combination costs or upgrade that defense down the line.
It does look like Eanix are pushing in for another kill. Unfortunately, a bit of a pause on our screens once more at Scoundrel. Something will get sorted out very quickly, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Eanix definitely looking a lot more confident on this composition. Popeyes just not quite able to execute in the same way.
See, Lyra's already picked up a flare gun, by the way. That's something that we should also remember. Lyra picking up the flare gun, what this means is that she's obviously then trying to counter the contraption that is obviously going to come out to try and counter this CP Kestrel. So, you know, we can see on the screens there, getting a little over the shoulder view of the game right now. These guys buy with such efficiency. Fountain comes out here for Eanix. You can see, obviously now working towards a contraption to counter the potential contraption coming out to deal with this CP Kestrel. And you can see Tezaboy actually hasn't prioritized that. Tezaboy has gone towards what looks to be a potential Atlas Pauldron, so maybe more worried about the Baron more than anything. He's gone for the coat of plates, though. We did see Popeyes do this last time. Just invest in some initial armor defense and then pick up the contraption down the line, or whatever else it was going to be. I think it was a Crucible at that time. So that maybe what Tezaboy does after picking up the coat of plates will work towards that contraption.
Oh, that was a kill going over to Mr. Spartan for Popeyes. We unfortunately didn't get to see it on our screens, but it does look like Eanix are putting the pressure back on towards Popeyes here. Aeon is level 6. That's a level above E-Baby. That is definitely an opportunity to set something up with that. Wait for it. Aeon could just find the angle for it.
Popeyes just trying to push this lane in. Again, a lot of damage been done to that tier 1 turret right now for Eanix. They put a lot of pressure on there. Baby does miss out that Impale again. They're going to try and punish Tezaboy.
There's Aeon right on the front line. One shot comes through, and I Angry You Die are going to find the kill. Eanix just able to punish this rotation from Popeyes. They just got too close for comfort. Now they're going to lose their turret in the process. Shatterglass finally completed for Mr. Spartan. That's a tier 3 at 7 minutes. Perhaps it's enough to find a kill. Impale goes on to this. Lyra Fountain comes out as well to make sure Mr. Spartan stays healthy. But the turret, unfortunately, does not get a heal. And that will be it going down.
Need to get level 8 to overdrive your on point realistically for that range that it gives you. Rubber Monkey's actually going to have to boots away here, trying to avoid getting ganked by Popeyes, who are now looking to push onto the turret themselves. You should see I Angry You Die and Baby get back in time before this goes down, but it looks like a very hard commit's going to come through. Right, it's just scary because they have used their Fountain here.
Yeah, Rubber Monkey has no energy when the assist happens. Mr. Spartan takes a huge chunk of damage. E-Baby diving forward. Aeon's committing. The turret goes down, but this may just be the life going out, and it is. That means Tezaboy is in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and combat a roll away. I Angry You Die gets onto Mr. Spartan. Usually it's the other way around, and a one-shot from downtown means that E-Baby's job is nice and simple. Ace for Eanix.
Ace for Eanix. Really good move by them. Obviously committing. That was an overcommittal from Popeye, something that they punished Elite 8 Force so heavily yesterday, making the same mistake this time. Aeon, I think, realistically wanted to commit himself, but the rest of the team unfortunately stuck around. Here comes the Baron ultimately. It looks like they're going to push onto this turret. Should take it down with one more basic attack. And then there's another turret going in favor of Eanix, accelerating that lead to around 2,000. And Popeyes again look lost in the water here. Mr. Spartan working towards what could be a broken myth or another Shatterglass, we just don't know. Double Shatterglass wouldn't be too out of the realms, although you might see him work towards an alternating current because that generally tends to be somewhere in the CP Blackfeather build path.
Very interesting stuff here in Eanix, as you mentioned, with that gold lead for themselves. Not a huge one, but it's enough that this Baron has that security, that contingency plan that he will come through, and oh, the damage, oh my gosh, it's a one-shot, it's a kill. That's going to be Mr. Spartan falling, Aeon trying to escape, but there's just no escape. Portal on top, he gets popped right back through it, and E-Baby says, I'll have you. Jumps on in, looking for that kill, and the kill goes his way. It could just be an ace, 3 seconds, but Tezaboy should be able to survive for that. Goes down, it doesn't quite, it goes down now, but it does mean that Mr. Spartan did get a chance to respawn, so no ace buff minions for Eanix.
And they should be able to take this Crystal Sentry as well. Like we saw yesterday, rubbing salt in the wounds. This should be one on point.
One on point. Misses it. Unfortunate. He's now going to dive forward with a Rose Offensive. E-Baby getting the heals. Mr. Spartan just dancing around. That's a jump jets across. He's managed to escape, and Mr. Spartan's turning onto Rubber Monkey here. Angry You Die has no energy. He's going to stun up Aeon, but can he escape? Rubber Monkey should go down to Mr. Spartan. Not the worst of trades. A little bit of an overcommit, but the gold is still there for Eanix.
Yeah, that was obviously somehow getting a return here for Popeyes, but that was a little bit of an awkward engage. They really would have ideally liked to just use that on point, take out the Baron, and then maybe have taken out Rubber Monkey as well. So you would feel like they lost a little out in that particular trade. They're going to try and take the gold mine, though, which has not yet been focused by either of the teams. Looks like Eanix will respond to this. iBaby moving in.
Yeah, here it comes on the Baron. Has that ion cannon as well if he wants to try and attempt the steal. Doesn't look like he will, though. They're just going to allow Popeyes to take it. Don't want to risk anything.
Brings the gold quite level, by the way. Gold is now only about 1,000 difference between the two teams, which is interesting given the dominance that Eanix has had. Double piercing shard comes out for Iangry, you die. So working towards a broken myth, and it looks like it's going to be a broken myth for Mr. Spartan as well. So not even going for that alternating current, really relying on stacking up with that on point. That's where most of his damage should be coming from in the near future. Wow. That Bright Bulwark doing so much work as well right now. eBaby dives forward, double auto attack. Doesn't get the crit though, not quite at that stage yet. Gone down the breaking point. Looking for a monocle next. That's on point damage from Mr. Spartan, can do a lot. Boy diving right on into the fight, takes a huge chunk. The on point pierces on through. Ion Cannon gonna fall on down. It doesn't quite hit anyone, but it forces the fight. It's Mr. Spartan going low. Fountain comes out. eBaby dives forward, and this time he gets that kill. Aeon gonna go very low, but the reflex block keeps him alive. For now, Portal forward, uses his boots. Might just be able to escape Glimmer Shot range, and he does. I do think this might actually be Shatterglass, Broken Myth, double piercing shard. Like we saw yesterday from Impunity, it just seems to be the C-way. Well, actually, funny enough, we both had a discussion with one of the Cloud9 analysts, and the math behind it is if your opponent has Aegis with a particular build path, I don't think it's this particular build path, it involved the...
Bit of an overextension from Eanix. Whilst we're talking about this, they are losing quite a substantial amount of members. Rubber Monkey just buying time, really, for Iangry to die, but they've already lost eBaby in this process. Yeah,
nothing big here. I mean, they were just overextended trying to take a turret. With a particular build path involving the, I think it's the Shatterglass Broken Myth Eve of Harvest, a double piercing shard means you actually do more damage than having another Shatterglass on board against an opponent that already has an Aegis. So given that you're expecting an Aegis to come from Mr. Spartan at some point, and Eon already has an Aegis, the build path is likely working towards actually just having the maximum impact damage on the targets that you care about, which is obviously going to be Eon and Mr. Spartan more than anything. But we are getting quickly towards the late game. iBaby already at 3 items, way ahead of his counterpart in that previous game, and he'll be really starting to hurt. You've already seen the critical strike start to stack up for him. Took out Mr. Spartan in one of the fights previously. Closer we get to that next Tyrant's Monocle, the worse it is going to be for Popeye, and they don't really have a team, I think, that contends at this point, especially with that Bright Bulwark preventing so much aggression from the Popeye squad. Even though Vox traditionally thought of as alright against the Baron. We've got a fight, though. Yeah,
Iangry, you die getting impaled onto. Engage comes out. He's trying to get away, but Mr. Spartan's just taking so much damage from eBaby. Fountain comes out, knocks him against the wall. eBaby in trouble, and he will go down. Rubber Monkey Root are going to have to use that passage to escape. In fact, he won't, as the damage is just not there yet from Aeon. Doesn't quite have his third damage item on the box.
Oh,
Mr. Spartan gets sniped. Iangry, you die, is looking to turn face here. They have that portal. Could get on top of Aeon, cut down his mobility, make sure he doesn't escape. Rubber Monkey, it just comes down to him. One shot. Doesn't quite connect with the lance. Boy will still be at a fairly decent health level. There are scout traps around, which means that this Kestrel has been spotted. Impaled down, locked up, Giffian wall knocked out. Oh, that's tons! And then Atlas means that he is gone as Aeon just stacking up now. Rubber Monkey going to be forced to try and escape, but if they follow through, there's eBaby! First kill is his, looking for a second as Aeon going to get slowed on down. Jump jets very close to being available, but Aeon pops his boots, will get away.
Little bit of greed there coming out. They hadn't really looked at the death timers for Baby, but Iangry, you die. I mean, this is something that the composition can do against this. If Lance does land an Impale to start off, you have a composition that can dive onto a target very easily. And I think that's the combo between the Black Feather and the Vox that you're looking at. It's why it can be good against Baron. You combo Vox with a little bit of CC, and suddenly you can dive onto a Baron before he can escape and do all the damage necessary. The problem with that fight for Eanix was that Iangry, you die, got caught up. Couldn't use that range advantage, wasn't able to spam the Glimmer shots. And if you're on the defensive as Eanix, it's very difficult once you've already used the Bright Bulwark to escape the onslaught that Popeye can bring. I think Eanix do have to be careful in this game. They are not as far ahead as they might think they are.
Yeah, definitely having to be cautious. The gold lead is almost non-existent at 15 minutes. It's less than 1,000 gold. It is going to be the Kraken and now unleashed. Eanix healing up, just sitting around this middle point of the map. eBaby still looking to work towards a 4th damage item. Dives forward. That's a lot of damage onto Spartan to initiate a fight. One shot going to come through, and Aeon just walks straight on into it. Iron Cannon onto their faces. Looks like Eanix wants to continue through, but the silence going to go on to everyone. eBaby dives on in, lands the damage. Mr. Spartan gets dropped, and now it's Tezaboy being focused on down. That's a good passageway. Aeon going to be caught on out. Jump jets forward, but they just don't have the range. Aeon makes the difference up. That means Tezaboy may have just got away as well. No, he gets stopped in his recoil. Aonryu Dai going to look to try and finish this one off as Tezaboy fails the impale over the wall. And with the Kraken unleashed, I expect Eanix to march their way over.
Yeah, they should be able to march their way down and take these towers and the game pretty easily off the back of this play, which is why Eon is kind of sticking around, potentially looking to make a miracle play in his own right. Again, you can see the difference between the Eanix roster when they aren't being caught out by an impale, when they aren't getting engaged on and having to go defensive. They have that positional advantage, they can find aggressive maneuvers and aggressive positioning. They are unparalleled in their ability in the late game to deal with the Popeye composition. If the Popeye composition gets a catch, they win. That's exactly, there is two distinct conditions here. Don't get caught, Eanix wins. Get caught, Popeye wins. That's kind of how these team fights have been destined to go. A lot of it does rest on Tezaboy's ability to land a crucial impale, and then again, a lot of that comes down to also iBaby using his Aegis or Rubber Monkey making sure that he uses the Crucible to block that initial engage, because while there are things that you might want to block in general, like the silence, it's probably more impactful to block that initial impale, because that's the one thing that could set your party a kilter. The other thing that we need to look at is Tezaboy didn't invest in a contraption, so the vision just hasn't been where it potentially needed to be this game to deal with a CP Kestrel.
Yeah, no, and it means that this Lyra hasn't had to finish hers. She went into the flare gun expecting it, just didn't come through, and so other items could be purchased, focused down.
Exactly.
This is going to be the Kraken now, marching into the base, and Impale comes out. eBaby gets knocked away, but he is just laying down the hurt. That's the one shot. Mr. Spartan goes down, and Aeon now very, very low in the process. These turrets are melting away as Eanix are looking to take Game 2 in a striding fashion. Just the Vein Crystal left, and you can see them taking it down. As we speak, Game 2 in this third place decider to go to Eanix as they look for a couple more kills just to pad their stats.
Fantastic, fantastic game from Eanix. That last fight there was a catch, Dowsy, but obviously because of the Kraken, it meant that the Popeyes team weren't committed to following up on it. So Lance went in, tried to get the Githian wall off, but it was Crucible, didn't quite happen, and they couldn't follow up on that engage, unfortunately. I think it was Eon was just too far away from the team, was too busy dealing with Kraken, and by the time the impale had happened, he wasn't on the same page, and they weren't able to follow up on that fight. But also, at that point, they were quite far behind, given the couple of fights that had gone out of their control and the Kraken being taken. Eanix were very ready to roll that down mid and win it pretty easily, because they had the extra lucky strike on board on iBaby as well, so they're almost the perfect Baron build almost completed, and that's Baron in the late game. Not much you can do about it. It's pretty insane to deal with this on an international competition level.
Yeah, no, certainly. I'm excited for this. This is Game 3, and we do have Baptiste on a Rubber Monkey to just taste your palates here.
It's an interesting start for him. He's gone for the energy battery and the cloth armor start, which would suggest that he's not thinking about an early... You're laughing.
Yes, I am.
Why
it's
are you
okay.
laughing?
It's an inside joke between me and you.
What?
Don't worry.
I'm too ill to even think about inside jokes.
It's fine. It's fine. Look at him. Look at Baptiste.
Baptiste.
Started off with his bad mojo. Gonna ordain ya.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you do build up stacks, that can be a lot of damage in the early game. But the bad mojo coming out, obviously just looking to get a little bit of poke damage down. A bit more impactful, I guess, than the B ability, because you're not looking to maybe fight as early on here. Ozo definitely needs level 2 before he can fight, so...
This is going to be everyone headed into the lanes doing their things. I'm kind of interested to see how this kind of plays out. It is our first taste of Captain Baptiste competitive. We've seen a couple of jungle Baptiste over in the Challenger Series for Europe, but this is something new for at least me to witness. And Rubber Monkey, he's going to be offering a lot of single target damage. Lock down that Kestrel, lock down that Samuel, and then attempt to lower it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got to get those basic attacks to make it work. I obviously meant light armor.
It is going to be Aeon taking a bit of poke. So the way this works is Rubber Monkey, his passive is Reap. He auto attacks 4 times, and then once he's put that 4th auto attack out, he becomes empowered, does more damage, and his bad mojo also does more damage as well. So the idea is you Reap targets, that also gives you a bit of heal life steal back. And so it provides a way to be sustained in the lane whilst being a bit of a frontline. But he's taken a lot of damage and he's not near a target that can auto attack. So Rubber Monkey is in trouble. You see E-Baby just currently tanking it all up. Here comes I Angry You Die though, and Mr. Spartan will be exposed to this Ozo. First blood to Eanix.
A lot of early defensive itemization, but it doesn't stop the damage that the Ozo can do. Looks like Boy is in a bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, we are going to see a pause.
Yeah, and just in a little bit of trouble there. Wants to make sure that he's fully...
it is very interesting stuff. The Baptiste here, we're getting into game, and Baptiste hasn't quite had as strong of an effect yet, but we've given him 3 minutes, so it's not like you're expecting the world just yet.
Yeah, so the duration on the Ordained is 2.5 seconds.
Wow.
And the stun duration at overdriven level goes up to 1.5 seconds. So
that's quite a long time to be stunned and locked in.
Locked in, yeah.
If you manage to find your stealth, kind of getting the full
and it deals
treatment.
damage as well. It deals damage when you're in the Ordained. It does a base amount of damage and extra damage if you move out of it. So it is a really, really strong ability that you have to be aware of. And especially if Baptiste eventually picks up something like a little bit of CP in his back pocket, you've got a 45% and a 60% crystal ratio respectively on the 2 parts of his abilities. So they can hit pretty heavy onto a carry.
Definitely so. Lock down the Kestrel, lock down the Samuel. I feel like this could be the answer to some of those heroes that are very hard to... Well, not hard to lock down, but just get threatened so hard when they do get locked down.
The problem is that, again, it's getting him into position to use that ability without... You basically have to rely on your sprint ability on your boots, because Baptiste just doesn't have the movement in his kit to allow him to get into position readily. You either have to pair him with someone that's got CC or bring the movement speed to him by giving him more treads or something.
And it's something that we've seen East Asia teams do very well, is actually rush into Tier 3 boots very early. I Angry You Die looking for an invade, and oh god, Mr. Spartan just got caught where the sun don't shine. He will go down 2-0 now for Eanix, and this Ozo seeming to do a lot of work for Eanix.
The micro play there was so good from Rubber Monkey, sorry, not Rubber Monkey, I Angry You Die, because what he did was he acro-bounced onto Samuel, acro-bounced onto the healing camp, acro-bounced back onto Samuel, and actually used 3-ring circus to avoid getting rooted as well. So it was a fantastic piece of work there. That was really, really, really tight there from Eanix. And now they might even be able to pick up Boy too. Yeah,
Boy's trying to escape. He will get away. Yes, double kill for Mr. Spartan. Gets here just at the right time. Eanix, bit of more than can do, but here comes I Angry You Die. He wants to get revenge, and is not actually going to go for it. Could have gone for the acro bounce, but decides he's not going to continue the cycle.
Yeah, I think there was always the potential to die to tower there. You don't need to give anything more away than that small engage gave away to Popeye. They actually managed to alleviate some of that pressure that they put onto Mr. Spartan, now giving him a bit of extra gold in the tank.
Yeah, certainly. You know, it's the gold deficit coming back for Popeyes here. Something they need to be doing, because unfortunately for Mr. Spartan, is playing Samuel, does have good early game presence, but hasn't had it due to the fact that Ozo has been shutting him down. And now, as we start to slip into the mid game, Samuel can kind of fall off here if he's not careful.
Yeah, you really want to get that early pressure as Samuel. You're like sort of level 1 to 4, you've got a really strong jungle. And then you want to move very quickly towards either that Eve of Harvest, which Mr. Spartan could go for, or he could even go for that Frostburn as well.
Oh, that is going to be the Ordained going out. You see it locks down Aeon, but nothing really comes of it. Baby going towards whatever build he wants to. Could go Serpent's Mask, could go Poison Shiv. I expect Poison Shiv into Breaking Point. I Angry You Die has just completed the Aftershock on this Ozo as well, and this is where things get scary.
So this is the spike for the Ozo. This is where you want to try and fight as much as possible. He is level 6. He can use that Bangarang if he wants to engage the fight. There are no reflex blocks right now for anybody on Popeyes. This is the perfect time to start to make things happen.
Kind of just sat on top of a scout trap and didn't bother to move away, so any flank that was possible kind of just got shut down by I Angry You Die. But this is the time where we are wanting to see how this lockdown can go and how devastating it may be.
Exactly, and I think now, after that item spike comes through, this is where you really want to say, let's fight, let's fight, let's fight as much as possible. Rubber Monkey obviously can use Ordained, try and set things up with that. You have the engage with the silence coming through from
He's looking for it, pops the boots. Ordained though, it will land the stun. Is it enough? Wait for it. There it is. Kill comes through, and here's an acro bouncing monkey to show up and make your day. not as great. Baby taking up the turret, but with the poison chip he can afford to do it. Founder comes out, and that is Mr. Spartan knocked away. Tezzaboy goes down as well. It's an ace for Eanix. They just make it all theirs, and the turret gonna fall as well.
And this is the first time I have seen a Southeast Asian team play up against a Samuel and pick something that is good into it.
Right.
Pick something that actually deals with a Samuel, because what I've seen so far, they're like, let's just play something that's kind of like Samuel, like a Sky, and see who wins in terms of a skill matchup. But now they're actually picking something that's good against Samuel, saying, okay, let's actually deal with the Samuel. It's not attacker, but it's an Ozo, which does a similar kind of thing. You go instantaneous gap close, a lot of burst damage, and that's what Samuel is weak against. Samuel does not have the ability to kite against that kind of thing. So really like this move. See the already forcing reflex blocks almost from the Kestrel, and already one Samuel picked up.
Yeah, not only that, Rubber Monkey's just got himself the War Treads as well. So tier 3 boot, second item, means he can get right on in there, get the Ozo in there, get the Vox in there as well. So much movement speed.
But more importantly, get him in there.
Right, exactly.
This is exactly what you mentioned. Batiste needs the movement speed to be effective, and now he's got a 60-second cooldown boot that gets the entirety of his team onto the backline to deal with two squishy targets.
That hate it when you jump on top of them.
Yeah, exactly. Both Kestrel and Samuel very bad at dealing with an instantaneous team that can get on top of you. This is a perfect way to play it from Eanix. There's the Ordained.
Yeah, Mr. Spartan is caught out, gets stunned up. The reflex blocks just comes out so late from him. Drifting Dark and the Malice and Vertex will give him a bit of sustain here. But like you mentioned here at Scoundrel, for the first time in this live championship that we actually see it, but we are back into the game. The pause completed now. It's okay, man. You can sneeze. You're real. I have to look after you. It's going to be a fight breaking out. It is going to be Aeon in a bit of trouble here. Here's the Bangarang. That's already Batiste finding the kill, and Aeon's going to get jumped onto as well. The second goes out. Tezzaboy, not much this Finn can do. Throws out the Polite Company, a quibble to welcome, but it's another ace for Eanix and this Bozo composition.
I loved it. Bozo composition, absolutely where I want to be calling this, and it's worked out really well, because it does mean it's very easy for Ozo to land crucial 3-ring circuses inside the Ordained. Also get great acro bounces. There's the Ordained coming through again. No reflex block. No,
and this is going to be Aeon in a bit of trouble. He gets dived on. Mr. Spartan tries to escape, and will get to the safety of his double vein crystal turrets. But look at how angry you die. Just so comfortable diving around the fight. They are going to drop back Eanix here, as the death timers are pretty low when Aeon is coming back up.
Yeah, but just the gold advantage is now 7,000 from multiple aces back-to-back, hitting those towers right where it hurts, taking the choke point tower as well. You can see the amount of damage coming down now, and this is what Batiste does. It forces early reflex blocks. Batiste forces you to have to pick up a reflex block to deal with the Ordained, and then by that case it delays builds on late game carries as well, and that's sometimes really important for the tempo of the play. If you've got a composition that relies on tempo, and Ozo really does rely on getting that advantage and running with it, having someone that can delay late game builds on things like a weapon power Kestrel is fantastic.
Love it. Shimmer Steel now coming out for Rubber Monkey, just really wanting to stick to his target, and look at him, just going to be able to charge forward. Of course, Tezzaboy cannot be Ordained, but the Silence Setting could come through. There's the War Treads. They're looking for everyone on the back line. Wait for it, flies out. Aeon does get caught, but they're just focusing down. Oblivion goes out. It just does not catch anyone. Spectral, Fearful Shade goes out, and Aeon gets caught in the midst of it. This is looking like it's just going to be another couple of kills going over. There's one Tezzaboy left, last man standing. They did lose E-Baby, but they will take Tezzaboy, get the hills, and it's just another ace for Eanix here. The Bozo comp just going to take this Crystal Sentry down. Nothing it can do.
I really like the Shiver Steel on the Batiste as well, because not only does it mean he can stack up his passive more quickly, and the passive, even when you have no CP, gives you...
Oh, okay. Oops-a-days.
Yeah, they saw the one-shot, one kill. They didn't move, and it got taken over. But again, it's just a little comeback for Popeyes, but it's nothing major. I still think Eanix are firmly in the driving seat. The Shiver Steel allows him to build that passive up. Once you get that passive up, the base damages of Batiste are pretty high, so you're always going to be a damage threat in your own right. So that's a really good move from Rubber Monkey. Also allows them to do exactly what they're supposed to do. War Tread second, the Shiver Steel runs on, deals with one of the targets that they want to focus, either Mr. Spartan or Eon, and it makes it very difficult for them to escape.
Yeah, this is lovely stuff coming out of Eanix, and really, really happy that they decided to show us this in their third game of this series, as they're looking pretty strong. It's a huge gold lead for this team. 7,000 gold at the 11.5 minute mark, 13-4, and it's only those two vein crystals in between them and third place here in the Southeast Asia Finals.
I'm going to be honest, it hasn't looked like anything but Eanix taking this into 3-0 during this series. The Popeyes just haven't been even on the same playing field. Eanix have looked fantastic, and you know, it just shows you the power level of impunity as well. So seeing Eanix do so well here, here's a fight.
Yeah, here's You die in the midst of it. It's a lot of damage. They haven't got a baby, and Baptiste is going low, but wait for it, flies out, and everyone just gets annihilated. Just Boy left alive, and he's just going to get taken on down. Crystal Sentry trying to do the work, but he falls. One more life remaining, but it just doesn't matter, Scoundrel. One more life. Well, I don't think he's even going to get the chance to respawn here. Eanix taking down the turrets. Aeon and Spartan coming up in just a couple of seconds, but I'm not sure there's much they can do. The Vayne Crystal being focused, and Eanix going to take third place here in the Southeast Asia Live Championship.
And it wasn't even close. That's the thing. It was a complete domination, and not only does this speak volumes to the power level of Impunity, who beat Eanix 3-0 yesterday, remember?
Yep.
It just shows you how strong some of these Southeast Asian teams are. Eanix obviously happy, maybe not so happy that they didn't get to the finals, but happy that they take that third place. You can see smiles in their faces, a little bit more upbeat than they were yesterday, and they should be happy and proud with that performance because they really showed some interest.